to the Jazz Rants. I'm your ultra dominant ego man. And I am here today to play for you a bossa nova. Now, the KH didn't show up for this video, so I'm going to take over. And the reason is because he's an Englishman and he's uptight and he's white and he doesn't know about Latin America. So now, I'm going to take over the channel because Latin American music and the bossa nova is about passion and it's about rhythm. And KH is an intellectual. He's a teacher. He's an intellectual. He studies things. Well, anyway, he's not here. So now I'm going to take over the channel. I'm going to play for you a great bossa nova by the Brazilian composer Antonio Carlos Jobim, and it's called Corcovado. It's all about where the Olympics are taking place now in Rio. So Corcovado. Here we go now with my rendition of Corcovado. Here we go. Now I want to explain, first of all, that when playing Latin rhythm, you really need a drummer. So we don't have a drummer and we don't have a bass player, so I have to carry it all by myself. So you won't exactly hear it the right way, but the most important thing is that you understand that the eighth notes are now even, as opposed to in jazz when they are swing eighth notes. So like in jazz, just like, now I'm doing like, you can't really hear the difference that much, but like now I'm doing even, like. Now basically what I'm doing here now in my left hand is I'm playing bass note and then chord with a two-note chord. So, but I'm feeling the rhythm like even eighths, like this. That is paramount, that you feel that rhythm. It's not like swing, which is bop, da-do, ba-da. It's like bop, 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 bop. So you have to really hear the drummer. You have to hear what the drummer's doing. You know, if it was swing, I'd be. So it's like, it's even eighths. So now the other thing about it is, about Latin music is, it's very off the beat. Now, that makes it difficult for those Englishmen and those Connecticut Yankees, like the KH. But I know that he has a passion. He has a feeling for Latin music. I know that he loves it. And so do we all. We love Antonio Carlos Jobim. So we try to emulate that. We try to get as close as we can to playing like Latin players. We cannot play like them, but we try to get as close as we can. And that involves meaning the rhythm and the passion. So I'm doing it like this. Now, just in terms of the technique, I'm using the technique of the tenths and the chord. Now, that enables me to get the A minor 7 or the D7 here with the 3rd and the 7th with the 5th and the bass, like that. And then I go to the A flat diminished there. See, so the left hand is really creating the rhythm, and the right hand is playing on the off beats. Now, that's essential, that you're not playing right on the beat. This is a very difficult technique to understand. And so you have to listen to a lot of Latin music, and you have to understand the offbeats, and you have to understand the rhythm and the passion of it in order to play it. So now we'll continue. That's the opening. Just to talk about now the concept of the harmony in tenths for Latin now. Like, you can actually, the interesting thing is now I'm playing like the bass line, and then I'm playing the chord here. So I tend to play the chord on the off beats, like. See, that's what Latin music is about, is playing on the off beats. And that's not an easy thing to explain. I mean, it just means you could look at it on a sheet, I could write it out for you, but you wouldn't understand it. You have to listen to Latin music. Go listen to as much Latin music as you can if you want to play this style. See, it's all offbeat. See, all this is going on here on the offbeat, like it's off the beat. But I tend to put the bass note on the beat, like 1. So like if you were counting, it would like 1 and 2 and 3. You know, these are ands, and like. Some of them would be off the beat, and some would be on, like. It's a felt thing. You have to feel it. I mean, it's. And then the right hand also tends to be off the beat. So there's all these offbeat things and onbeat things. It's a combination of off and on, which is difficult to understand if you're not Latin American. So like for us English guys and us Connecticut Yankees and everybody else in the world, we envy them for this feeling, this great feeling they have for the Bossa Nova. But anyway, but let's look at the technique of the left hand now. And it goes there, and then it goes there, and then it goes there, and then it goes to I put a diminished. So like you can play amazing things in your left hand if you just can play these kind of voicings in tenths, because you have that root. The root here stabilizes the beat, and then the things you do in up here in the index finger and the thumb provide the chord and also the rhythm. Now, this is probably the most difficult music to play in many ways, but now we'll continue. Next step. The ultra-dominant man is back, and I know the KH tried to invade my channel, but anyway, I want to talk about the fact that now you can begin to introduce a lot of your jazz techniques, like the locked hand technique, into your Latin music, as long as you understand that you must have rhythm and you must have passion. Those are the things. So like you can to mix it up with many of the other techniques that I've showed you about. And that is why I want you to understand what I'm doing here now. So it involves the tenths and the chord in a very simple way that way also, but it also involves mixing it up with a variety of other techniques. And when you put those all together, now you have a very interesting conception of your arrangement. And that's what you want. But the most important thing I want to say is, listen to your Latin music. Listen to your great Latin players. Antonio Carlos Jobim. Even, you know, like, let's take George Shearing, who did many Latin albums, and he was an Englishman, so he was able to achieve that because he respected and he admired the Latin music players. And so he created many albums, and one of my favorite players is George Shearing. So listen to him, listen to the Latin music, and you will get the concept of it. Okay, we'll wrap up now. Thank you. Thank you for joining me this evening. I am the Altar Dominant Ego Man, and I'm glad you joined me for this Latin American interpretation of Corcovado. I'm sorry the KH could be here, but I want to sign off in the words of Antonio Carlos Jobim, and please correct me on my pronunciation, but it is Boa noite. Okay, good evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.